afternoon to each and every one of you who has joined with us today. So today we have a very interesting session, and I'd like to brief you about our expert speaker today, who is joined with us today, Mr. Piyush Singh. He is a storage specialist in IBM. We all know about IBM. It's an American-based MNC, which is the leading cloud platform and cognitive solution company. And Mr. Piyush Singh was also a former senior analyst in HCL and cloud operations analyst in Ascensure. And I think our today's topic is quite curious and interesting, which is SAN storage. So over to you, sir, now.
Hey, thank you so much. Thank you so much for having me. First of all, Par University. Thank you so much, Ankit. And yes, we'll try to look into the topic that we are going to cover today. The topic will be storage area network or SAN.
Yeah.
So that is my expertise, in IBM, or I would say for the past 7 years. So something about me, I have about 7 years of experience in IT industry. I started my career from HCL Technologies way back in 2014. For 3 years, I worked there, and then I joined Accenture Solutions, and currently I'm working in IBM. So as as you progress in your career, you'll have to work in the different technologies. If I like to summarize the type of work that you would get once you move into the IT industry, once you try to move into the IT industry, so like you will be either a software engineer or an infrastructure engineer. So if you're a software engineer, you can either be a developer, a tester, or anything. And if you move into infrastructure, so that is what we are going to cover today, and what is the role of an infrastructure engineer, and what are things he would cover, and what are their expectation, and what can you expect from the IT companies that we are going to see now. So how it works, suppose if you're hired for one IT industry. So suppose let's take an example of IBM only. So you're not going to work directly for IBM. So there will be different clients under IBM for which you're going to work. So just example, let's take an example of any big multinational company, for example, like Britannia, or you like PepsiCo, or Emirates. So their main focus will be on emphasizing on their business, if that is PepsiCo. So PepsiCo will be more focusing on the production of their snacks and beverages. And like Emirates will be focusing on aviations. So they see they are big multinational companies, and they'll be having lots of data to store, that they too need IT infrastructure to keep their data, keep their network. Like they need to have their all the details updated. For example, suppose we have Emirates, so they would need complete information of what flight is flying from which place to which place, details of the passenger and everything. So they will need IT infrastructure. So they will hire some IT experts, or they will reach out to IT experts, and they will give their business to that company for a certain amount of time. So they will outsource the IT infrastructure, if you see here. So how it goes, like suppose if there's a company that I own, it's a big multinational company, and I like to give that project to some other IT industry. So it will go through a bidding process. So I would select like 3 4 companies. Suppose I will see like how is their infrastructure, how is their previous performances. So according to that, I will try to give the my business to those companies. So there'll be a bidding session. There'll be companies joining that session, and they'll bid for that project for a certain amount of time. Okay, they'll say, okay, I'll give these many resources from our company, and they will be working for you under our company. Like they will be on the payroll of the IT company only. Like you, if you join suppose IBM, so you'll be working for IBM, but like you'll be on the payroll of IBM, but yeah, you'll be working for different clients that IBM supports. So whatever infrastructure, whatever bidding the company finds suitable, they'll give that project to that company, and for certain amount of time. There'll be the project will go for like 5 years or 7 years, like that. So there'll be a fixed tenure. And yes, so as I told you, like you'll be working for a different client under one IT company. So yes, you will be dependent on that project. So suppose if there is a project for 5 years, you work for 5 years in IBM, and now you are trying to move out of that. Like the project is trying to move out, like they are looking for some other, other company that is more feasible for them. So you will be moved out of that project, and internally you will be shifted to some other client, like who IBM owns, or like if there's a new project coming on, so you'll be moved to that project according to your skills. So that's why you need to keep your skills updated. And initially you'll start with one, like one skill only. But yeah, as you progress in your career, you'll be seeing different technologies in your path. So what is the role of IT infrastructure engineer? So as I told you, infrastructure engineer, like you'll be part, you can be a part of a storage team, server team, network, security, cloud, etc. So different teams have different responsibilities. Okay, so if you're part of a storage team, you'll be responsible to manage the storage switches that will be covering in the session. You can be part of the server team. You can handle like Linux, Unix, different Windows servers. You can part of network security and cloud as well. Like different team will have different roles and responsibilities. But as you progress in your career, you'll need to have, if not expertise, but yeah, you should need a good knowledge about all the other technologies as well as you progress. If I move forward, so why do the company need storage? That is the one question that arises. So just a so in the like layman language, suppose there's a server you can say is like a storage, like a computer. Suppose you have a computer, okay, you need storage, so you'll be having your internal storage connected to it. So you'll be having like 500 GB or like 1 TB of space. So that will be sufficient for you to keep your data and stuff. Like for but big multinational companies, they'll be having like TBs of data coming every day, so that will not be sufficient for them. So they will need an external storage box to be connected to their servers, from where they can access that storage, they can keep their data. And yes, they should be like assured like the data is safe, even if there's any fault, but still the data will be intact, and they can retain the data whenever required. So that's why the storage box comes into the picture. And there are different type of storage box that will see going forward. So like as I told you, like there will be different applications that will be hosted. This example, suppose we have Flipkart, right? So Flipkart is one application, so that will be hosted on any server in the backend. Okay, like not one server, like there will be multiple servers, and that server will be connected to a storage box that will be taking the data, and whatever data you have, your information, everything, billing, everything will be kept on that storage. So now most of the companies are opting for cloud. And what is the difference between cloud and physical storage? I would say that will come to know going forward. So they'll be having different application that is hosted on your servers, and that server will be taking storage from that storage boxes that will be connected, or SAN storage, NAS storage, and depending upon their need, will come to know. And yes, suppose I like to share one more thing. Suppose there is some need of what is if there is like a huge load on servers at one particular day, or like 2 days or 3 days in a year. Suppose in a year, like suppose if we have a big billion day sale, so there will be lots of users rushing to that applications. So they will need more servers to run those applications. So here cloud, we have an option to auto extend the number of servers, so that the load will be shared, and you will not see the Flipkart or any other application like that going down. So they'll be able to share the load. Okay, so let me just move forward ahead. So we have three types of storage that you'll be dealing if you are part of a storage team. So you can work with DAS storage. That is the NAS storage or SAN storage. Will come to know about them going forward. So DAS is like your directly attached storage. NAS is your network attached storage, and SAN is storage area network that we'll be focusing today. Talking about DAS is like something which is directly connected to your system. Suppose you have your external hard drive that is connected. So that will be a directly attached storage to your system. It will be high performance because it is directly connected. We do not have any network in between, so there will be less latency and high bandwidth. But the thing is that you may lose your data anytime. Like if there's any connection issue, you will lose your data. So that is not feasible for big clients. Like you can, like if there is small business, they can definitely go for a dash storage. Yeah, I like to introduce one more term, like to be familiar with you guys. So like we have our data center. Like data center is a physical location where all the storage devices, all the network devices, all your switches, everything will be kept and connected into a network. So that will be one physical location. Like for one project, there'll be different data centers around the globe. Like they'll keep one data center in some like suppose in US, another they'll keep in some other place in US only. So like this, just to have DR side or recovery side. Suppose of one, there's one some disaster in one place, so that their data will be there intact in the other location as well. I'm talking about the physical storage that we're going for. So this is NAS. We have network attached storage. So NAS and SAN both are like equally, in demand in the market. Depending upon their need, the client can go for the NAS storage or the SAN storage. NAS storage basically works on your Ethernet network, so that will not be, very high speed network, but yes, different computer devices, different devices can be connected over the shared network. So like the storage, they can access the shared storage from multiple systems that we have in the network. So it's easy to, extend. We have good scalability. We can add as many systems as we want, depending upon their, obviously the bandwidth and the network. We can have multiple devices connected, but yes, still they will like there is like a redundancy issue. Like if there's any fault in the network, so you may lose access to your data. Storage, like NAS storage will be something like a shared drive, as you say. Like if there's a Google Drive shared with you, and you are sharing that drive with three more users, so all the users can see that particular drive as a shared drive. They can access that, and if they have permission, if you give permission to that storage, they can also edit that data, edit the files over there. They can upload the data. That is all that's they can do. So this is something like but yeah, it will be on a local area network, like a LAN network. So that's how it differs from our drive or something. And now coming to our main topic, that we have SAN storage or storage area network. So SAN is like a high bandwidth, high performance network that operates on a fiber channel network. As we saw in the previous slide, the NAS storage works on a Ethernet network, and the SAN storage works on a fiber channel network. It is a fast, high bandwidth storage. And when the big clients, they need the data whenever they require. Like they need to have the high bandwidth in the network, and with least impact to their production. Like if there's something down, or say there's some issue, they still need to have the data with them all the time, 24 cross 7. They will rather go for SAN than NAS. So why would they choose, well, they go for NAS, sorry, the SAN instead of NAS? I will just try to demonstrate here. So in this picture, if you see, there are the servers here. These are the Windows, Linux, and Unix servers. In simple terms, you can say these are the computers. Okay, that will be having some applications, the client-based application that will be running. Like there will be multiple servers in the environment. Like you're seeing just 3 servers here, but in our environment we have thousands of servers. So they will have different applications hosted on them. Okay, yes, definitely the client applications, and they will be connected to our storage area network. How they are connected, I'll just demonstrate here. So rather than having a single mode of connection, like if this system wants to access the data from this particular box, this is the single mode of channel. If there is any fault in this channel, so they will lose the data then and there. But here in SAN, what it goes, like how it goes, like you'll have a different path of accessing a particular data. So your data definitely will be stored here. This is the disk array or your SAN storage box. Okay, they'll be having physical drives in them, and yes, the drives can become faulty. There'll be loss of data for certain amount of time. But if we implement it here, they'll be having redundancy within the storage box. They'll be having redundancy here as well in the network. So the client will not lose the data for even for a moment. So like they can access the data all the time. Meanwhile, if there's any fault in the drive, or we can replace the drive and get it fixed, and then they'll be up and running again. But yeah, client will not see any loss or impact of data. So if this particular server, suppose I'll just keep track on the time as well. Yeah, suppose if this particular server wants to access a storage, if they want to keep the storage, keep the data in some storage box that is here. So what they'll do, there'll be two paths or multiple paths of communication here. They can This is the SAN switch, these are the SAN switches. Okay, switches are used to provide the redundancy. Okay, we have a tape library as well in the network, you can see. So if there's any backup that the client wants to take, they can take the backup and keep it here. Okay, and that will be, that will be a cheaper solution for backup. We can take the backup on the storage box as well, your disk array as well. But the thing is that it will be very costly, because yeah, SAN is costly. So if you want to take the backup, and if you want the backup to be there, and if we need it, we can retrieve it like in some certain amount of time. We have time to retrieve it, like there's no hard and fast thing to do. So we can keep the data over the tape libraries as well. So if this client wants to access the data, they can go from this channel, this path. They can go through this SAN switch, and this SAN switch is connected to disk array, so they can access the data from here. Also, there's one more path. Like, see, if we go here, there's other SAN switch. From here also, they can access the data here. And these are the, your different drives that we have. These are the logical unit number LUNs that we call them. And if we move forward, see, as I told you, there are two paths of communication here, two paths of accessing the data. And this is the like basic scenario. Like if you are seeing here in the SAN network, it can ranges to n number of, paths that we can have. Like, this is in the big environment, we'll have not just two switches, we'll have hundreds of switches connected. And depending upon the, how much data they need, and how much, big their infrastructure is. So on depending upon that, they'll be having multiple SAN switches. We'll having more than two paths connected to a disk array. Just in case, suppose if there's any fault in the network, this is only just a cable. Suppose if there is a fault in the cable, there'll be different ports connected here. They'll having ports here in the server, they'll be having port obviously in the switches and the disk array. Suppose there's any fault in this port or this particular wire. So still the client will be having access to the data from this path, the path number 2. So that is why, where client needs data to be available all the time, they will go for the SAN model. Okay, so what is the difference if you like to summarize? So SAN versus NAS. NAS is basically, used in the small industries, small business, and big business always, try to go for the SAN storage. And SAN storage is definitely more expensive and requires more administration, that we'll try to cover it in the session, like what all the, basic administration that we perform here in the SAN. And yes, we that is the main reason the client goes for the SAN storage, the fault tolerant network that provides SAN. So they'll be having redundancy. Like if there's a part down, yes, still the data will be accessible to the client. So this is one thing, uh, for the main reason why we go for the SAN storage. Okay, so these are some of the leading SAN products and vendors. Like we have the, SAN storage box from the Dell. We have HP, Hitachi, IBM, NetApp, and for switches, the two famous SAN switches that they offer are like from Brocade and Cisco. They have like the basic functionality will be same, but yeah, the operation will differ from model to model. Like if suppose if you go for uh, Power Max, or if you go for like other HP storage, HP, we have like different like Nimble, and we have like different XP, P9500, different boxes we have. So depending upon the model, and depending upon like depending upon, basically it depends upon the client need, what they need, and the type of data they want to store, the amount of data they want to store, the amount of space they want. They can go for the different models. And yes, depending upon their support as well. If you opt for, these storage boxes, yes, they'll provide some support. But yet, yes, it will be chargeable as well. If it comes in the contract, they will be ready to support certain amount of certain operations that they can. Okay, let's move forward. And yes, if you talk about the data centers, they can be either in the IBM infrastructure, the supporting infrastructure, or it can be with the client infrastructure as well. Like the suppose if there's a project like Britannia, and they do not want to give their data in the other data center. So they'll have their own data center, and we will be just managing that. But there'll be scenario as well where the the offering team will be having their own data center. The IBM or HCL or other companies will be having their own data center where they will be keeping their data. So just a little bit of idea about how the network works here in SAN. So suppose there's a new host that is connected, okay, and they want to connect to one storage box. They want to utilize the storage that is there. So see, as you can see here, there can be multiple servers that can be connected to this particular storage box. So there will be the storage that we have is will be shared, okay. It will not be dedicated to one particular host. There will be shared storage, because it has the capacity of multiple terabyte or petabyte of storage. It depends upon the vendor to vendor, for sure. So suppose this is a new host that wants to connect to the network. So how it will be connected? So there's a process called zoning. So zoning is basically virtual connection between the ports. So how will this particular storage box will know, like, we have a new host connected in the network, and they want to access your data, or they want to keep the data over there. So for that process only we perform the zoning, and zoning will be performed on these SAN switches as you see here in between. So like you can go for the GUI as well, you can go for CLI command line interface as well. We have both. So whatever suits, we can go for that, and we can perform the zoning. So what all components is required here is like, suppose there's a host, okay. So the host will be having multiple HBAs, or host bus adapter. So HBAs are like, and it will be used to connect to the network that we have, the SAN network. And these SAN switches will be having the ports, okay. It will be having the storage box also will be having ports. The storage box will have basically your controllers, okay. These controllers will be having your storage ports or front end ports, that is called as fiber channel ports as well. So what it does, like, it is used for the connection. So what is controller? Basically controller is like your processor, and it contains of your CPU, your cache, your network. Everything is like, this is not just a simple box. Like, it will be having its own memory. It has the storage box has its own fan, your the power supply, and the whatnot, like your cache, everything. So it can operate here. We can operate like as a single system. We need to log into the storage box very often, like you need to perform if you need to allocate space and all. So it has its own processor. Definitely, that is why we are able to log into that and perform all the operations. And we can see like what all space is allocated to which host and all. And suppose there's a new host that is connected to the network, and it wants to access the data from this particular storage array. So this will be having its HBA, host bus adapter, and this will be having one port, this will be having port, this will be having this port. So we log in into this your SAN switch or fiber channel switch, if you see here, and we'll take the port ID. So what is this port ID? Everything in the network, in the IT industry, IT infrastructure, everything, every port and everything will have its unique WWN or WWID. What is called? It is like a worldwide name. It's called as worldwide, identifier. So it has a unique hexa, not hexa, like like yeah, it has like uh, alphanumeric combination of characters that will uniquely identify that particular port that we have in the infrastructure. So if that if you want to perform zoning, we'll have to pick that particular WWN that uniquely identifies, okay, this is this HBA of this new host that is connected here. We'll pick that particular WWN. We'll pick the WWN of the storage array port as well. We'll create a single zone so that it come to know, okay, this is one zone. So now they are connected, they are into one zone. This is a lengthy process that we can cover later on. That's why I haven't kept in this session. So these two ports will now try to communicate with each other. They'll have one zone created, and there'll be one more zone created between this port and this port, so that they come to know, okay, this is the storage box from where we need to keep the from like where we need to keep the storage, and from where we need to access that. So this is the zoning process, that like a virtually defining, which port will access which port, like that you can say. Talking about the components that we have in SAN storage. So so this is our like host that is in the network, okay. And it is connected to this, your storage system, okay. This is suppose a storage box that we have, okay. So this storage box will be accessed through the storage network. They'll be having front end ports in the storage box, as you see here. These are the front end ports, which are used for the connections, and the back end ports will be connected to the physical drives that we have in the your storage. So this data actually will be stored in that physical drives that we have. But yeah, front end ports will be used for your connectivity. As you see, these are the ports and these are the controllers which I talked about. They'll have the cache network and everything comprises of everything. And yes, these in the depending upon the model, there can be 2 controllers, 4 controllers, or to provide the redundancy. So if one controller is down, other controller can take over. So we need to have the at least one controller running up and running all the time. So if one controller is down, like it is critical, we need to contact the vendor. We need to go through the process, like there'll be different process defined. Either we need to go for there's something like a change process. We need to get the approvals from the lead. Okay, this is the fault that we have in the environment. This is the something like any configuration change that you want to do in the environment, we need to have the approvals. There's a certain approving team that we need to go through. There'll be cab team, like change advisory board meeting will be there. So you have to put your change over there. Change is something like creating a artifacts, and what is the fault that we have in the environment and what we need to do to fix it. So all these steps will be mentioned there, and we'll have to have one scheduled time, because we cannot just go on and operate at any particular time in the environment. Basically something which is impacting. So if there's something that is impacting to the environment, and so that will be performed over the weekend, or something like during off business hours. Like if there's a business hours, suppose if a client operates from suppose 8 to 5, so we'll try to do it after 5, so that we can have least impact. There'll be certain scenarios where we need to reboot the host as well, suppose. So that host needs to be up and running during the business hours, so we cannot perform at that particular time. We need to perform it during the off business hours. So that is why we will get the approvals. Will mention everything, like this is the issue that we are going to tackle, and this is the steps that we are going to perform, and we need to reboot the system, and things like that. So that will go through approved window. Okay, they'll see, there'll be board members that will be sitting there, and they'll see, okay, this is the operation that you need to go to, that we are going to perform. There'll be different application owner with them. So like there'll be different application owners, and suppose this is the host that is going to be rebooted. So for that particular host, there'll be different app owners. So that those app owners will be responsible to give the approvals if you want to go ahead or not. So if they give approvals, we can definitely go ahead and perform the activity in that particular time period. So yes, as we were talking, there are controllers, and if there's one controller down, definitely we need to look into that, and we need to get it fixed as soon as possible. We can have multiple controllers. We can have 4 controllers, 8 controllers, depending upon the storage box that we have. So these are the backend port that are connected to your physical disk. We'll talk about more about the processes that we handle going forward, if the time allows. I think it will. So let's keep going. Yes, so we talked about redundancy in the network front end, like in the network part. Suppose if there's an one path goes down, we still have the access to the data. As you can see, this is the backend. Like in the backend, we have the physical disk. So these disks also will be having redundancy. Okay, not just the front end port. Like suppose if the data is stored in one particular drive, and the drive goes down, there's any faulty drive. So still the client needs to have the data with them all the time. So we need to implement RAID, or a redundant array of independent or inexpensive disk, we can call either of them. So we need to implement RAID to have the redundancy over the data as well, so that if there's any fault with the drives as well, we can still have the access to the data. So if I talk about few of the RAID, like RAID 0 is not basically like it's in use, like we cannot practically it's not the clients are using. So like RAID 0 is just basically striping of data. So suppose this is one physical drive that you have, the other drive that we have here, drive 2, and uh, so data will not be written like if you have like suppose 10 MB of data, some you have a 10 MB of some file, PDF file. So you cannot just go ahead and store that particular file in one particular drive. In the backend, how it goes, like it will be, the data will be divided into different blocks, chunks also, you can say, like different blocks also. So these blocks will be written across the drives, just to have redundancy. And so it will not be stored in one particular drive. Suppose if you are storing that drive, that particular data in one drive only, okay, and if drive goes down, so you'll lose your data. So for that instance, it will be implemented over RAID. You'll be having the data will be divided into different blocks, and it will be stored across the drives. So RAID 0 is basically, striping the data, like one block will be written to one drive, other block of that particular 10 MB file will go to the other drive, like that, block 3, block 4, like that. So it is not like basically in use. Like if that one drive goes down, yes, you'll lose the data of the this particular drive. So RAID 1 comes into picture. RAID 1 performs, there's no redundancy, but still, yeah, the data will be accessible very quickly, because yes, it is distributed, and now it can be accessed at any time, like without any major latency. RAID 1 is like providing more redundancy. It is like just mirroring of data. RAID 1, like if one of the block will be written to one drive, the same block will be written to the other drive as well. So but it is having, it is feasible in terms of, you if you say like accessing the data will be there. Like suppose if this particular block or particular drive goes down, you'll be having access to the complete data, like block 1, 2, 3, 4, that comprises like that makes up a particular file that you saved here. But still, uh, it is not feasible, because it will be very costly, because you need to buy two set of drives for what could have been saved in one particular drive only. So that's how like RAID 5, RAID 6, and RAID 10 comes into the picture. We'll talk about RAID 5 here. So RAID 5, what it does is like it like striping that we see here, like different blocks will be stored in different drive. So same way it goes here, block 1, block 2, block 3, and we have parity as well. So what parity does, it will hold the information of this particular complete set of drives. Okay, like it is parity B1, so it will store the data information about this particular drive. So even if one particular drive goes down completely, it can still be recovered using these parity. Like suppose if this particular drive completely goes down, it can be built up using this parity. And at least we need to have three drives to implement this RAID 5. RAID 6 is similar, just we need to have, we'll have double parity, to have more redundancy, we'll have two parity bits. So these are the actually the drives, actually the data that we are going to store, and these are the parity drive for redundancy. Okay, so yes, talking about clouds, I'm Amazon certified solution architect. I like the clients now need cloud resources as well, because many of them are opting for uh, cloud technology over the other physical infrastructure. Why they need cloud technology? I would say like cloud is like much cheaper to implement initially. Initially only because uh, uh, they will need everything will be there set up with the vendors. and you just need to start utilizing the resources without worrying about like, okay, we need to set up and everything. So we can just start utilizing the resources that they have to offer. We not need not to have our own data center. We need not to have such big teams that we have. Everything will be there with the cloud, and we just need 1%, 2%, 3%, like depending on the size, to manage those data. So cloud is like you can say, like initially it will be cheaper, like as I mentioned, like small upfront cost will be there. And it works on a pay as you grow model. Like if initially it will be cheaper, but yes, as your data, as you start utilizing more and more resources from the cloud, you will definitely have to pay for their uses. And it is easily manageable, as I mentioned. And data will be definitely with the vendor. So that is one drawback, that is one reason uh, why most of the clients are setting back with the your physical or on-premise infrastructure, because that if there'll be different security level that we need to manage by our own, and there'll be certain set of configuration that will be done from the vendor side. So just to have more security, if the client want more security, they want more stable infrastructure, they rather settle down with the on-premise infrastructure. But yes, since cloud is the future, and many clients are moving to cloud, we like as if you start your career as an IT infrastructure, I would highly recommend, in from initial stage only, you try to get certified in one of the cloud technologies, and definitely they'll have something to offer you, like going forward, like for in Amazon. Like we have like these are the big cloud providers that we have Amazon AWS, we have GCP, Google Cloud Platform, we have Microsoft Azure, and we have IBM Cloud as well. So yes, depending upon the needs, we can opt for any of them. And yes, that is how it goes. You can get certified. It's very easy. Like you can go for any courses online, you'll see, and you can get certified. It will help you in growing with your career, like along. But yes, for that also we need to have good infrastructure knowledge. Once you are good, it is basically, you can say, the cloud is basically, it works as a uh, it is IT infrastructure over a cloud. Like there's someone else managing it. It will have their own UI, but the basics will be the same. Different, we'll have the storage, we have network, everything, but yes, it has a different UI definitely, because it operates on different platform like Amazon Cloud and GCP and Microsoft Azure. So this is how it goes. So that is what I had to cover in this session. And think if there's any queries, I love to hear back, and try to answer. And yes, if there's any query at any point of time, if you need any suggestions, because I'm here in this industry from the past 7 years, I know like what is in the market, what is in the demand, and I know what may help you to grow as a IT engineer. So you can definitely reach out to me at this is my email ID, piyushks999@gmail.com, and I would love to connect with you all.
Yeah,
So
so
that's
I
all.
think we have some questions right here.
Yeah.
So there's one question from Jay Patel. So the question is that are the backup centers attached in the same network, or are they some other geographical locations?
Yeah. Yeah, thanks, Jay, for the question. So like as I mentioned, like tape libraries are the one of the backup solution that we have. So it will be there in the data centers where we have all these storage boxes and everything attached in the network. So it will be there, and it can operate remotely as well. We can have the backup. We can have the your physical infrastructure. We can have the data backup taken over the cloud as well. So it can be with the vendor. We can take the backup remotely as well. So both the things will work.
And one more question that he asked is, what are the security layers and structures in the most basic layer of SAN storage?
Yeah. Okay. What are the security layers? So security layer, as I told, that is the one thing that I covered. Like that was zoning. So zoning is the one that provides your security, so that okay. So if we want to restrict the data that you have to one particular host, if you want the data to be accessed from by that particular host only, if you don't want to be accessible to other hosts, that is where the zoning comes into picture. And if I go into deep, like there will be two type of zoning, soft zoning and hard zoning. So soft zoning, as I mentioned, there will be all the ports will have their WWN or worldwide name identifier. So that is they are used for your soft zoning. Hard zoning works on the port basis. Like they will you'll not need not to mention the that particular WWN. You just mention the port. Okay, this is the one port that belongs to this particular host. This particular port belongs to this particular storage box. So that in that way it will provide more secure layer to access the data. So if you want to have more security, we can go for that hard zoning. But usually client goes for that soft zoning as well. That helps in the that it will be easier to manage and configuration also. But yes, I did hard zoning as well. So yes, this is one plus security level that we can say we can have. And yes, yeah, as he mentioned this question about the backup. So we can, as I mentioned, like we can go for the backup over the cloud as well. But yes, it will be very costly because backup will be something like there'll be plenty of data, terabyte or petabyte of data. As we progress, usually backup the client prefer to be taken on their physical infrastructure only, because cloud
Yeah,
when it grows it will be very very costly, very very costly. And yes, we have different, if, like I have experience on AWS as well. So yes, we have different set of setup that we can do. Like if you want to access the data very frequently, suppose they are taking the backup, and every 4 days 5 days that they are taking back the data, they are retrieving the data. So that will be called as a hot data, and that will be taken, there'll be certain set of settings to be made to get them access as soon as possible. So that will be definitely high cost. And if there's something like cold data, and suppose they're taking the data and they need very often, like in 1 year or 2 year, they need the data, they can keep it there, and that will be low cost model as well. So we have
yeah.
that option in the cloud.
So
Okay.
there's one more question that
Yeah.
personally I wanted to ask is, what
Yeah.
if one server crashes in the SAN storage? So how can the data be retrieved back?
Good question. So, if the suppose as I've told you, like there will be backup solution that we need to see. Like there's one thing, like they can be fault at the storage end, they can be fault at the networks, they can be
Yeah,
fault in the server itself. So yes, the data that you can take backup will be from definitely from the tape library that will be attached. And also we can take the backup at the if there is something very critical, like if there's particular application, suppose Flipkart is there, it's very critical, we need to be there, we need to have it up and running every time. So we can take the backup at the storage end as well. Okay. But yes, so see, since it will be taking the same amount of data as the actual data. Suppose if there's a 10 petabyte of data and the backup is being taken at the storage and also 10 petabytes, so you can see like it's very huge amount of data.
yeah,
But still, if client wants to go for, if they want to have it that much availability, they want to have that. So we can definitely take the backup at the storage boxes as well, that will be kept at the physical storage drives that I have told you. Okay.
yeah,
So it will be having redundancy, and yes, it can be accessed very frequently. As SAN operates over Fibre Channel network, it is very fast, and we can access it very whenever we require. So it's that is one thing.
yeah. And talking about fiber channel, so what customer problems does a SAN solve?
Yes. So good question once again. So Fibre Channel, like if you are suppose initially if you are a storage engineer, so you will have to deal with if I try to go back to the slide 1 minute, talking about this diagram. If you see, if you
Yeah,
are a storage engineer, so your responsibility will be handling this particular box. You'll be responsible to handle this particular switches that we have in the network, and there will be different team managing your host as well. But yes, as we progress, like after the 7 years, like I am like pretty much into everything. I'll be managing hosts as well, storage, switches, everything. There'll be definitely a network team expert will be there. But yes, this network, what you say, like in between the devices, that will be managed by you. So this is very powerful. Like the SAN switches, it has its own CLI GUI. Whenever a port is down, suppose this in this we have seen like only one port connected here, one port connected here, but yes, it will be having like hundreds of port depending upon the model. And whenever a port is faulty, okay, so it has its own monitoring system that will alert the customers, or like, okay, there's one problem with this particular port. This is fluctuating. Suppose there is some issue with this particular port, okay, there's some issue with the cable. So the connection will be fluctuating. They'll not be able to access the data every time. Like there'll be some like drops for like milliseconds there. If you log into that particular switch, and if you see the logs of that particular switch as a whole, like there's a command like fabric log -s for your brocade switches. So we'll see this. Suppose this particular cable is connected to, suppose, port 19 of this particular switch. So in port 19 you will see the date, like the port is going offline, port is coming online. So within second only you will see like hundreds of logs, like it is fluctuating. So
Yeah.
this shows like there's some issue with this particular port and needs to be uh, seen or remediated. So then you will see, okay, what can be the issue. There's command like for port show, we can see the particular port. There's a We can check like if there's issue with the port, we will then engage the vendor, and it will again go through that process. Like we need to get the approvals. Okay, what is the process? If you like as you start working, you will come to know, okay, what are the basic operations that we perform. Like we need to sometimes need to change the cable as well. Sometimes we need to change this HBA where this particular port will be plugged in. Like you have, suppose, your LAN port, okay, so that will be having that cap over there, white cap, okay. So that will be also there, where we'll be plugging in the device physically, the cables physically. So sometimes that will also go faulty. Sometimes there'll be this storage box also will be having the components, as I told, like they'll be having your battery, your fan, and everything, your drives. So anything can go faulty, okay. So so for that, it has its own monitoring system. So it will this storage array is smart enough to generate the logs, and it will trigger. We can set the particular email ID we can provide, okay, the client email
Yeah.
ID, where it will alert the customers, okay, this particular drive or this particular device is getting faulty. So we need to engage the vendor and get it sorted. And yes, everything will have their own firmware, own version that we need to the OS version that we need to upgrade time to time to tackle with the security issues. We need to upgrade the
Yeah. Yeah.
firmware of this device, and yeah, storage boxes as well. Yes.
Okay, very well explained. Thank you so much, sir. And the
You're
last
welcome.
question that I had was, all this SAN is about the storage, right? So,
Yeah.
what kind of physical storage do you use, or is it partially some part of it is stored in cloud services as well?
um See, if you talk about the, like, if you're being infrastructure engineer, everything will be there in the data center. It will be, everything will be stored in in your physical geographical locations only.
Yeah.
But yes, there is offerings from the cloud vendors. Like we can still have all the infrastructure set up in your in your data center. There's something like gateway, if I'm able to recall it correctly. And using that, you will be able to access the cloud resources as well. We can have both of them running. Like if you want, the customer wants something to be accessed from the cloud, you can still have that facility that will be connected, like your device will be connected to the cloud, and yes, the clients can access that particular data, like it they'll be like no differences from the client end. But yes, that will be accessed from the cloud also, like if they want to have a cheaper solution, of course. Yeah.
Okay, okay. So
Yeah.
thank you so much, sir. You explained this pretty well.
Thank you.
Personally for me, I understood a lot about SAN storage, also about NAS storage and DAS storage that you talked about previously.
Yeah,
So this was a very wonderful session. So thank you for taking out your time. And I guess all our viewers also, gained a little bit of knowledge about how the things would work in the professional field as well. So thank you so much for it, and thank you for taking out your
My
time.
pleasure, Kush. And yeah, it's always wonderful to share anything I know. Had I not been like IT professional, I would have definitely chose this career as a teacher or something. So yes, if there's something I can be helpful, please do reach out to me anytime. There's like I have many friends that are connected over using this channel only, like who wants to learn and who wants to see, like who want to know like what is going there and want to have some experience. So definitely I would
Yeah,
love to share my experience, not specifically in this storage, but yes, anything like if you want like how to grow and what are the technologies in demand, I'll be definitely there. If you want the links to study, and there will be free courses all around that I'll be aware. So yes, I would be definitely able to and yes, you need to keep learning. So thankfully light is back. So yes, so after the session, so yes, we can you just the main like motto is like you just need to keep going. You cannot be sticking to a particular technology in IT, and you can assume like okay, I'll be retire with this particular technology only. But yes, every 2 years, 3 years, there'll be new technology in the market, there'll be new challenges. So yes, you need to keep yourself updating with the technologies and the demand in the market, and you need to know like what is there in the market and what can keep you in the race. So yes, it's always a learning scenario. So for me also, like nowadays also we are going through your trainings and all. So it's not just like
yeah,
sticking to one particular story. In this storage only, like I can say like around 20 plus technologies I've worked, but still need to learn more. So as the client wants like okay, we are going to have this technology in the market, if you are aware, let me know. So yeah, yes, definitely will be aware, we'll have to learn that. So you cannot just
yeah.
deny that. So yes, so that is how it works.
Okay, very well said indeed.
Thank you. Okay, so Ankit, anything to add?
Yeah. So, thank you very much, Piyush, for getting something new to discuss upon. That this session I would definitely say would help or at least ignite our students to get something new to learn upon. As Kush has rightly mentioned, yeah, I must say that Kush had been a very nice support throughout the session as a
And
moderator.
good observer. Yes, like
Yeah,
he has been noting down all the topics, so it's good to
actually.
have
And
for interaction.
he's one of the persons who actually is working a lot on this type of sessions and everything. The moment I informed him that okay, we are having this kind of session which is delivered by you, so he was continuously searching out what exactly the SAN storage is, because this is
Yeah.
something that they don't they don't have it in their
In the
studies.
curriculum, yes,
Yeah, that
definitely,
is regular curriculum which is there, that is going on. And
for
it's
sure.
great to have this kind of students who would
Yeah,
have this kind of I can say inclination towards learning something new. And yes, definitely it's great to have people like you, those who are ready to share their knowledge with us and with
anytime.
our students specifically, so that they also would get some dedication towards something new to work out upon, because this is the field, that is the IT and computer. No doubt I am also one of the part.
Yeah,
I was the part, but now even I shifted to something which is related to management. So yeah, but yes, this particular session would definitely help our students to get something new to learn upon, to think upon at least, so that they would have something to study in this particular time when they are having nothing much going on and they are at home. They would like to definitely go through with this type of sessions. And yes, as you said, we would definitely be there
yeah,
always with this kind of queries, with
yeah.
this kind of requests from our side, that yes, we want you to be there for this kind of sessions for
I
sure
will
in future.
definitely for sure.
Yeah.
It's my
So with
pleasure.
this, yeah, I would like to again thank Piyush. Yes, I would definitely thank Kush as well for being the best of the moderators throughout the session. And soon we would be planning certain this kind of sessions in near future. I
Definitely.
would like to thank all the viewers joined with us today, and thank you very much, everyone. Please stay connected, and for any of the queries, you can definitely reach us out, whether through the email which is mentioned over here on your screen, or through the Facebook page on which we are having this session going on live. So thank you very much, everyone. See you soon. Please take care.
Thank you so much, guys. Thank you for having
Thank
me, and stay safe. Bye bye.